Um,
Hello, Miss Sunny. I missed you Monday.
I know we missed you too, but I'm sure things were pretty busy and still
It's
busy, right?
been ridiculously busy on so many different fronts right now. Um, I don't even know where to begin. But I'll start with a little update from over the weekend.
Okay.
So last we had spoken, we had talked about some big meetings going on down the street.
Right.
We had talked about, wasn't sure what was going to happen, who they were, that type of thing. Well, they're basically a group of Black Sun generals that are here and
Hmm.
still are here, have been here. They came in originally because the Silent Circle came in.
Okay.
Now, this town has long been known as, I'd say a secret headquarters for the Black Sun. I know that's why I was brought here all those years ago. Several years ago anyway. And this was the place they approached first for multiple reasons. Number one, they have been running around securing Bureau of Land Management land and its resources here in the States. They have been doing this everywhere, as we had talked about. So there's one of those sites not too far from here.
Mm.
And then they approached the town after they had left there, basically telling them they were under new management. There was a little bit of an argument and a little bit of a fight. They are still here now. They are not communicating with those people anymore. There was a conversation had about a meeting that is to take place on the 28th, as I have told you. And they, I guess you would say, the old management has been trying feverishly to fix things. They had told them that they were going to work with me to fix things. And by work with me in the eyes of generals in the Order of the Dragon and these people, that means they had multiple conversations about possibly getting rid of me, how to convince me to leave the zone, what kind of special person could they bring to an area just outside the zone in order to drag me out there so then I could be subject to their, let's just say, a special way of convincing people to do things. They've talked about, presidents and whatnot. They want me outside of here. That was one thought. The next thought was, how do we manipulate her? Can we get a hold of the system? And they've spent all weekend at various locations trying to hack the system, trying to revive old systems that don't exist. And clearly, regardless of what even the Silent Circle says, they're going to do things their way. Now, the last several days, and this started over the weekend and has continued, they have decided, not only from here, but also the elders, so to speak, in the Order of the Dragon, have decided to use the U.S. government as a ploy to try to get me to fund the government like we had done underneath the Trump administration. Well, the problem with that is that it's trust that plan, right? Trust the plan, trust the plan. And not like I ever trusted the plan, but, I was under obligation at the time and under contract by a 10-year extension to do that funding. I am no longer under that contract, therefore no longer obligated to the government. But somehow they either didn't tell them about that, or they've convinced them that the repository is the only way or something. I'm not sure, because we got calls from Schumer. We've gotten calls from aides in the White House. I'm supposed to have another talk with that party at a little later on this afternoon, my time. And everybody's looking for funding, but everybody wants to pretend that I don't exist. So I'm sure then that would mean someone, be it the people down the street or the Order of the Dragon or Rothschild, or somebody would still pretend to be in control, but they're not. Now,
Right.
everybody is getting a huge dose of the truth from the silent circle as they make their way not only through the US government, but through the whole world. And I'm kind of going to focus on the US because what happens here at this point, due to the widespread dollar, is going to happen everywhere.
Mhm.
So we're going to talk about why this is a problem. So in my past experience, and there are many people out there in the world who do this, if a company is failing, they're going bankrupt,
Mhm.
sometimes they call in a bank or a lender or someone like BlackRock or anyone, in this particular field to acquire a capital loan or some additional funding in order to prevent the bankruptcy from happening. Now, when you go to a lender or a hedge fund or a bank or, could be a venture capital partner, you have to have a clear-cut plan. And that doesn't mean you go around on Twitter and 50 other social media sites saying, trust the plan. That's not the way this works. You can't just walk into a lender or venture capitalist and say, trust the plan.
Right.
Well, what is the plan? No, these people are getting ready to fork out millions of dollars or billions of dollars in some cases. In the case of governments, they're asking for trillions.
Mhm.
So I would like to know what the plan is. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair. They want money.
Okay. So you're bankrupt. You cannot fund your budgets. The ridiculous numbers that you've put out there in budgets, and where is our money going to go, and how are you going to prevent this tenuous situation from happening again? Well, the first thing that a venture capitalist will look at, if you do not have a plan because they don't, there's no more trust the plan, that doesn't work anymore, you're going to look at management. You're going to take a serious look at management. If there is no plan to pull your company out of bankruptcy by creating other production or various other things you could do, maybe there's an expansion that will help you get into new markets, but how are you going to fix your company?
Mhm.
Well, government is government, but it's run pretty much like a corporation. You've got the president, you've got the CEO, you've got the venture capitalists that come in and funded the government. You've got lobbyists and then the corporations that all feed off the government. It's kind of like the corporation of all corporations, so to speak. And I'm not talking about the alternative media's version of US Inc. and versus the US government and the Republic. I'm just talking about the structure. So right now, the management of the company, known as the US government, which would be your generals, and for the most part, you're talking about the Blue Dragon, the Order of the Blue Dragon, or the Order of the Dragon in totality. In some cases, you could say it's the Chinese section as well, and they all participate. Red Dragon, is promptly sinking Russia into the toilet as well as the Order of the Black Sun, and they're all trying to come up with a way to control the corporation. Governments, plural, but we'll stick with the U.S. because that's who's predominantly calling constantly. So right now, what I see is a bankrupt corporation, and I see a bunch of management staff thinking that the way to fix this is to continue hacking feverishly to try to get control of a system that is never going to work. And I also see them trying to revive things. So I liken this to you and I getting together, Sunny, and deciding that we're going to make tube TVs. Do you remember those big, huge boxes in your living room with the tubes in them, and they'd come replace the tubes when things went bad? So we've come up with a better version of it. It's just as enormous. It's just as functional. And we're going to do the antennas again, and we're going to try to, work our way into today's world, and we're going to market these things. Now, it's probably not going to go that well. because some of the comments that were made to me by the middle management, aka your Congress, were things like, this has been going on this way for 60 years. What do you mean we can't do it this way? Now, so we've just come back from the venture capitalists, and in office, and they said they need a plan. So what we've done is we've recreated the same type of budget, 3,000 pages, and we're going to present that. And it's going to say blah, 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 hidden law, hidden law, hidden law. And then
they always do.
$500 billion to Boeing, $500 million to American Airlines, blah, 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 lobbyist group, so on and so forth. And then, oh yeah, there's a little bit of money to keep the government running. We say we're going to do infrastructure, but nothing ever changes.
Nope.
And everything's falling apart. Bottom line, the country is bankrupt because you have bad management.
Yep.
Fair?
Yep.
Because that's what a venture capitalist would look at. So if they're coming to me for money, I'm going to say, okay, there is bad management here. They're not doing anything to fix the actual country and prevent it from going bankrupt again in the future.
But Kim, in all fairness, could they even, because again, they're puppets.
Yes.
But they're puppets, right? This middle management like Congress or whatever. Do you really think they would have the ability to think for themselves and come up with a plan?
Well, that would be the management's job, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, they are a few sandwiches short of a picnic, if you know what I mean. They're not coming up with any sort of plan whatsoever, other than they're in full-on panic mode, and they've resumed doing what they've been doing for the last 15 years. President level would also be considered middle management in this case. So what do you need to fix the company? Okay, well, let's go over it, in somewhat detail. And if anybody disagrees with me, please let me know. Maybe you've come up with something else. So the fantasy of democracy is a joke. We do not vote, the whole pretense, our Bill of Rights, all of these things are things we don't have.
Right.
And we even had less of over the last 3 years. So in order to fix the country itself, you need to change the mission statement. That would be the first thing. What are we going to do? How is our country going to run? This goes for everywhere. The next thing that the Silent Circle has managed to do is they basically told the management that they would be fired. They would be replacing the management if they can't get it done by the time we are scheduled to have a meeting on very soon, within the next few days.
So that's the operatives, Kim? Is that who you're saying would have
the Silent Circle?
Right. They were saying it, but were they saying it to the operatives? Like, who's management here?
They were saying it to these, the Order of the Black Sun Remaining Generals, the ones from Cheyenne, the Order of the Dragon. This is not only for the U.S., this is for the entire world. But what happens here happens everywhere else. So this is a pretty big focus for them, as it is for us, it is for the world. Right. So we have to start here in order to fix it.
Gotcha.
So they have determined that come the next few days, they are going to remove the management staff. First thing you do when you fix a company.
And that's a Silent Circle when you say they?
Yes.
They are going to, okay.
I agree with them.
Yeah.
I agree with them that these people do not have a business plan to fix the country.
Right.
And a business plan is needed. Things that should be included in the business plan. Let's just say we are going to have this conversation before that meeting happens, and the management staff is going to try to save themselves and continue on with some kind of position in this world that matters other than janitorial staff.
Right.
Okay? Because they can always have a position, cleaning somebody's toilet. I mean, I need my toilet cleaned. I mean, that would be great if I didn't have to do it myself. But I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the usefulness at this moment because there is no strategic planning on their part in any way. I see a bunch of sporadic operations that all end poorly, promises that they don't deliver on, and therefore we're now at critical mass in the world of corporations. You're either going to go under or you're going to fix it. And going under means a lot to the whole world right now. Mm-hmm. So number one, included in your business plan, no more taxes. 80% of taxes collected in the United States currently go to the Rothschild family through the XN system in Belgium.
Yeah.
So you're paying your taxpayer dollars in order to have a quote unquote representative in Congress that allegedly is supposed to represent your state, your area, and then vote accordingly because you have agreed with their principles. That was the plan, but that's not what's happening. Management controls all that. Management controls those decisions, and the big corporations and the big campaign donors are the ones that also get funding and drive the bus. Mm-hmm. So, number one in the business plan, you will go to a spending tax only.
Okay.
A spending tax only in every single state, individually and collectively in a federal way, would solve your problem. And then no more taxes getting transferred to orders of dragons and societies and ridiculous people that haven't paid you in 15 years.
Right.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, we will take a look at how many departments you have. Okay, this is the next thing we have to take a look at. How many divisions, how many intelligence agencies does the United States have? Do we need to have an intelligence agency for everything from ones to figure out how many people consume toilet paper to, how many people, make a phone call to their parents? And I mean, how many times can you record a phone conversation?
Yeah.
Not only here in the United States, but all around the world. How many do you need? You don't need that many. You maybe need one domestic and one foreign.
And you don't need to be spying on us either.
Unless there's a reason.
Yeah.
The constant monitoring of people is so ridiculous. We're 90% of us don't know anything about anything we're talking about. There's certainly, and if anybody does become even a slight hint of a threat or files frivolous lawsuits or does all kinds of sorts of things, they're often brought on board.
Right.
With those people, with the management staff. Or conversely speaking, they throw you in a jail cell for God knows what, and you lay there to rot for the rest of your life. So, I think we're good in that respect.
Yep.
Every intelligence agency, we need to look at them. We need to see what their budget is. We need to see, this is what you do when you take over a company and you're a venture capitalist and you're going to make an investment. I want to know. Mm-hmm. I already know the answer to the question, but we need to evaluate the usefulness of these different sectors.
Right.
Way too much redundancy. Then we have to take a look at departments like the Department of Fish and Wildlife. Okay, we have a whole division that talks about freshwater salmon and then one for saltwater salmon. Do we need to have that? Can't we just have a salmon division in general? Do we need to have all those people? So I'm going to look at your employees and your expenditures. Can we consolidate some of this stuff? I say you can. Now, if we went to a sole spending tax, which has already been written by somebody who works in the crimes division, they have this entire plan. Will the country, with respective department consolidation and receiving the full 100% of the spending tax work for the budget? Yes, it will. That will work. Now, and it's good for the people. Next, NGOs. How many NGOs are in the budget continuously that the government funds? Let's take FEMA. and the Environmental Protection Agency.
Hmm.
Do we need an Environmental Protection Agency? Well, sure. Can it be done in the private sector? Well, it is the private sector. That's an NGO who also reports to the bad management, who then uses it as a tool to, for example, create water shortages.
Yep.
Save the, Bozo the clown fish in Lake, who gives a,
Yeah.
Named after some lost Indian tribe of who gives a. So, if the EPA actually was involved in actually protecting the environment in any way, shape, or form, maybe that'd be useful. But either they're a government department and they're funded by the government, or they're not and they're in the private sector.
Right.
Who are you? Same thing goes with FEMA. FEMA reports directly to the management. In this case, Rothschild. And I know this for a fact because I talked to the director of FEMA after Hurricane Michael when I offered funding and assistance, and he told me that he was waiting for money to come from Rothschild at 3 o'clock on that particular day. Sound familiar? A day ending in Y.
Right.
Always at noon or 3 or 5 by the end of the day, and they still haven't received any money from them for Hurricane Michael or anything, nor do they actually come in and help anybody. Most of the help being provided to citizens in the event of a natural disaster in the United States is coming from churches.
Wow.
And organizations, that are maybe Christian organizations or Catholic organizations or somebody like this who comes in and they rally the entire congregation and they bring water bottles and food and other items to the area. Those people are getting help from people like that. They come in and they rebuild houses, they do repairs, they give housing to the elderly. This is what they do. And I'm not saying, I agree with churches or not churches or this religion or that religion. The fact is, it's people helping people, period, end of story. Yep. FEMA comes in with a bunch of cameras, same thing they did during the floods in Australia that we pointed out. It was a year ago. And they take pictures of all these people doing all these things, and in fact, they're doing nothing. I could say the National Guard probably helped and saved lives, but why are we giving billions of dollars to FEMA? FEMA expected to get funded directly by the old management. That's why. Under their control. Remember when Kushner was running FEMA?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for the love of God, help us all. There's a reason for that. He is part of them. He's a part of that group. He was a part of that group when he was living. I don't know what that is walking around now, but whatever. That has to end. Either you're part of the government or you're not part of the government. What are you? Who are you? The Red Cross is another one. Money laundering, the largest money laundering organization in the world. They carry pallets of cash. They put people in and out. People see the Peace Corps. Here's another one, the Peace Corps. People join the Peace Corps, young kids, in hopes of doing something good and helping. But when you go to another country that is impoverished and they see you coming and you're wearing your little Peace Corps shirt, they think, oh, the CIA is here. And they're right.
Wow.
So are you going to have programs like this or are you not? Now, let's talk about the Ways and Means Committee. Everybody in this budget game right now is talking about the Treasury, the Fed, the government, the president, the whatever that is, the Congress. Are you going to pass this or pass that? The debt ceiling. But everybody forgets about the Ways and Means Committee. Now, the Ways and Means Committee is also technically not a government department. It is also technically an NGO and had reported directly to the Rothschilds and the Blue Dragon forever. These are the people that do things for you like your Social Security, your EBT or your food assistance cards. They handle the National Health Organization. That's, and your Medicare programs and all of those programs. Those are all coming from the Ways and Means Committee. Who are they and what are they doing? Right. And where does their money come from? Well, it used to come from the Treasury of USA, which is an Order of the Black Sun facility that is also broke.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they are, these things need to be restructured, but the government pays for them all, pays through all their salaries and, you know, pays for all the things they do nonetheless out of the budget. Now let's get down to the military industrial complex. Why are we funding Boeing? We didn't buy anything from Boeing. We're just giving them money. I don't understand that. Why would you do that? So these are all part of what happens when you make a budget. Why do you give those people money? Well, they're our friends. Well, why are they your friends? Well, maybe they donated to your campaign. In the case of Donald Trump, Pfizer donated millions of dollars. And then Operation Warp Speed came to be. Wow, wonder how that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Pfizer is run by the agency, as you know. See, this is that management again.
Mm-hmm.
So the federal government funds Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and all of these different places. And then in turn, they get Operation Warp Speed. One hand washes the other.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, the Operation Warp Speed was not a success. And now they want funding and pandemic relief. Still waiting for that. You know, why are we funding them? Why does the United States government fund Pfizer? They're not buying vaccines, say, for government employees. You know, I could see that, you know, purchasing of things for employees as a benefit, you know, a health benefit, you know, maybe a gym membership or something like that. You know, I can understand those things. That's part of the normal course of business for employee health and wellness. I see that. But why are you giving them? Why did all that money go to them during the Trump administration? You know, and they're still wanting to do it now. I mean, it's still written in all these ridiculous budgets they keep submitting that aren't ratified. You know, and all they can do is focus on a debt ceiling. And it's all about the lobbyists. The corporations donate to campaigns, and then the lobbyists make sure they get what they want out of the budget. And the aides that work for the bad management are causing the problem. You see, it's very simple.
Yeah.
If you are a corporation, you know, if you've ever started your own company, Sunny, and I'm sure you have, I have too, and several of them, and they were fairly successful. I mean, I wasn't Bill Gates by any means, but I mean, I did pretty well for myself. I also didn't get free money from the World Bank and a fake story about me making a giant computer conglomerate in my garage, but I did fairly well for myself for a long time. And I didn't receive anything from the federal government.
No, they wanted money from me.
Yeah, they wanted money from me, actually. You're right.
Yes.
You know, if you would like to exist and you would like to have a company, you will pay your corporate taxes. You're going to pay for filing and registrations and annual reports. And depending on the structure of your company, you know, these are all things you have to pay.
Yeah.
And then in turn, I then pay that money, 80% of it, over to Rothschild. And it doesn't even go to fund my government.
Right.
You know, the military is another thing. We got the military, we got the Coast Guard, we got the agencies, we got I don't know how many departments. Trillions of dollars go missing. You know, that's in the news, you know, in the federal audits and whatnot from the military. And everybody's just like, oh, well, we're missing $1 trillion.
It's probably on the couch. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. And then in the news as well, it's things like, well, we overestimated the value of the arms we sent to Ukraine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But these are all the things that come with bad management, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Because as a manager, you know, of a division or the entire company for that matter, you know, you would look at it and you would say, there's money missing out of this department. Where, you know, we need to fix that. Where'd the money go? Who's embezzling money? Embezzlement is bad. That's a crime we go to jail for, us people.
Absolutely.
You do that in the federal government, someone pats you on the back and takes you out to dinner.
I was gonna say you get a promotion, probably.
Yeah, probably. You know, in reality, I'm going to just in layman's terms, I am a venture capitalist and I am offering to come forward with my capital to fix it. But I'm not going to feed the pig.
Right.
And I am certainly not going to fund a government that is going to report to bad management with no plan whatsoever to fix it. So I'm in agreement with the silent circle on that one. Mm-hmm. Kudos. You can't fix it with bad management in place. You can't negotiate with these people. You can't talk to these people. When you try to talk to these people, they put you off until there's an astrological alignment of some sort.
I know. I know.
It's true.
It's ridiculous. You know? There's like no common sense. None.
No, they wait for an alignment of something, and then they think something's going to happen, whatever that thing is, and that you're going to change. You're going to change your mind. I'm a business person.
Yep.
You know. Okay, fine. Let's call them a nonprofit. Let's call the government even in the nonprofit category, because they're supposed to be providing a service for the people. You know, like the Breast Cancer Society or something like that. Let's even say that they're a nonprofit entity. That's not true because they're still collecting donations from us.
Yep. Forced donations.
Forced donations in the form of taxes. That's right. Forced donations. So we're paying forced donations to this nonprofit alleged organization so that they can give it to a third-party entity that does definitely not is not American, first of all, you know, and they are certainly not in favor of the people with the infliction, which is us, the citizens of America, in this case, or the citizens of any respective country, insert name here. So, you know, you don't, it's so hard to understand that you're collecting all this money over here, you're broke over here, you have no idea what departments are running in your government, and you have no idea what's written in the 3,000 page or whatever it is long memo you sent out.
I think that was evident earlier in the news, Kim. We were talking about the debt ceiling and everything, and how the Treasury Department was reaching out to federal agencies to say, hey, what bills do you have coming due? And I'm like, how do you people not know this? How is it's like everything's so compartmentalized that nobody has like money, like you said, money just goes missing or whatever. Like there's no accountability for any of this stuff.
No, it was designed that way by the bad management. So right. If you were the manager of, let's say, the accounting department, AKA Janet Yellen, in this case, you would have the department budgets for every single department. You would have every expense report, every expenditure at your fingertips. You know, I mean, we use Trello, I think we use for workflow, you know, even in our little company here.
Tell them about it. There's app
hey
called
guys,
Trello,
have you ever considered using a workflow management tool like Trello as an example? I mean, heck, you've spent trillions and trillions of dollars on computer systems, but hey, you use those for surveillance, not for workflow management.
Yeah.
There should be some kind of workflow program of some magnitude that plays the Star-Spangled Banner and pats you on the back when you open it up. You've spent so much damn money.
Yeah.
You know, and turns on the massager in your chair or something. I don't know, you know, something special that thing should do at this point. But, you know, there's no accountability. Why are you now calling at the final hour? And you know what? That was probably prompted by the silent circle to point out the fact that you are a bad manager. How do you manage the finances for an entire country and you don't even know what department? Did you even know that there's a saltwater fish and a freshwater fish department?
Yeah.
You better call them both, Janet. That's a lot of calling because you've got so many departments that you probably don't even know about. All you care about is that money would come in and all of your special people were paid. And then, of course, the Treasury has their black card expense accounts, and those are always full. And my card always works everywhere. And I can buy all the little boys. Oops. Did I say that out loud? That you do for you and yourself. Well, Mnuchin was running a pedophile ring out of the Treasury Department when he was there. What do we expect Yellen to be any different? Got to entertain those people coming into town, don't you? Got to feed your boss, Rothschild. You got to feed the generals down the street. You got to feed them that money. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, middle management is running around trying to secure contracts, all over the place and being run around by red tape that doesn't exist. That's what middle management is doing. Middle management is sitting there because upper management has told, for example, the State Department to send more arms to Ukraine. And by middle management, we're talking about the White House, the State Department, those types of people. And then it trickles down to the rest of the middle management who doesn't understand that they're waiting for a group of people in Durango, Colorado, or in Cheyenne Mountain, because they go back and forth all the time, and then or in China or in UK to wait for an astrological alignment to happen so that the hacking will be better, and it's a more prime opportunity to get a hold of a system that doesn't exist in space and time. And money will come out, or manipulate the blonde lady to get it done for you.
Right.
Which is not going to work, and that hasn't worked, and it's never going to work, and that's it. So this is where somebody's got to draw the line. What the Silent Circle actually warned them of was that you need to understand that this is the only way this is going to happen. You need to negotiate with her. You need to talk with her. And they won't. That's not what they're doing at all. So they're just counting down the clock. That meeting is going to happen in just a few days. And then it's over.
You said that there were people that reached out, right?
Well, middle management reached out. They did not have the management reach out. If management reached out and actually wanted to have a conversation from their lips to my ears, and not in a way where you think you're going to put me on some kind of a table and with a shock thing or something like that. There's all kinds of other things, but giving you one example, until I concede, that's not going to happen either.
Right.
So they said, get it together, come up with a plan. That's what they gave them days to do. Mm-hmm. And they've got nothing. So the reason why middle management is now calling us is because upper management has told them to call us, but to hide Kim in the corner that you didn't call Kim, so you can still claim that you run the joint.
Yeah. It's like they're like fake calls because middle management can't do anything really.
No, middle management is following instructions from the upper management currently at this moment in time. Get some money from her, keep it running. We have to keep it running until the next astrological alignment in June, or the solstice, or a Lionsgate in August, or something, and that's what they're doing behind the scenes. But no, I'm in full agreement. Management has to change.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the presidency. That's middle management. I don't care who sits in that seat. Oh, the other thing they came up with, speaking of who sits in that seat, is they're talking about having Nikki Haley run for president. You remember Nikki Haley?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because she's a woman. And then here's the story we get. Oh, it's about time we had a female president, and so on and so forth. And, and this is all because they think that will work for me. A female president would be better, but it's still a female president that's under the control of the old management. Exactly. So it doesn't matter.
You got to change the system or it doesn't work. They're not about to give Nikki Haley any power.
Well, corporations go bankrupt. Credit lines are not being extended. There is no credit line, AKA a debt ceiling. because that corporation that gave it to you is also broke, the Federal Reserve, and nothing is coming back. And management, current management, all they can think of to do is this crazy stuff. The Silent Circle has a plan. They came up with a plan. They informed all of their middle management of the said plan, and then they executed every department and every division of said plan. Isn't that amazing? Oh my God, people with a plan.
They got stuff done.
They got stuff done. GSD, that's right. And I'm in agreement. At this point, I don't see any hope based on listening to every single conversation that they've had down the street. I don't see it. I don't see they have a clue. I don't see they're willing to give up power willingly. Anyway, I don't see they have a plan. Even if I gave $2 trillion tomorrow, it would be gone by the end of the week.
Sure.
Because there is no plan. They're going to feed all the pigs. They'll all come to the trough and feed like little piglets. Mm-hmm. And then then all the money will be gone in a week.
Yeah.
You know, you'll have the Zelensky piglet. You'll have all the different piglets all around the world feeding on the trough. Mm-hmm. And it will keep them in power for a week. Yeah. And then when all that money's gone, now what are you going to do?
Right.
You know, they are preparing, for example, some of the other things that they're doing, this mismanagement. They have everyone at every U.S. military base and installation in the Middle East on high alert right now. Therefore, every other country is on high alert. Nobody knows why they're on high alert, but they're on alert. Why? What do you think they're preparing to do with the money they think they're going to try to pull from me?
So war.
Yep. And then in turn, feed the operatives contracts once again, maintain control of operatives, all of that. And then away we go because Kim's stupid.
Yeah, they're so cocky. Can I say that on the news? They're cocky.
You can say that word, Sonny. I say a lot of bad words on the news.
No, but they are. They're so full of themselves and like what they think they can do, and that people are just going to, I don't know, just cower to them.
Because it used to always be that way.
Yeah, they just don't have any cards now. I mean, they've got nothing to play.
Well, exactly right. Now, that's one thing. That's the state of the union here in the United States at this moment in time. That is going to change in the next few days. You're going to see it's going to be quite evident. People are going to be saying things you never thought you would hear them say as paid actors, known as your Congress. You'll see. Come in the next week or two, I'm telling you, you're going to start to see it all come out. It's going to change because those people will go play shuffleboard on maybe Palau. You know, they've been to Palau recently. They were in Palau, just so you know, is an island in Micronesia. Palau, you know, in accordance to the operative world, it is very similar to, they claim that there is more gold there than anything else. That's what they claim. Anywhere else. It's kind of like they talk about the Philippines and the Marcos money and all of these types of things. But Palau has satellites actually over Palau from every single country in the world. And it's not that big of an island. It can't have that much gold, you know. So what is it about Palau that was so special? Well, long and the short of it, it wasn't a mega portal. Yeah. You know, yep. And do they know that? Did they know that's why they were there? Did they know that's why they've been working there? I mean, it's basically been little U.S. for a long, long time. China has tried to make their way into that area, into that region to take over those things. Another place they've been is Borneo. You know, there's another portal there. So they've been to a lot of places, to their credit, trying to do a lot of things, but it has nothing to do with the plan of fixing the United States. It has to do with taking control of an unlimited money, gold, silver, rare earth mineral supply. That's what it has to do with. It has nothing to do with fixing this country. So if you want to, go ahead and trust the plan. Good luck to you, because there isn't one. Next, not one that makes sense anyway. So now, other things that have been going on, and part of the reason why I actually really wasn't on the news, which really had nothing to do with listening to idiots down the street necessarily, it had more to do with the ascension of the planet.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yes. So if you think of the way Earth was